Hey everybody, Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I have one of those cereal cups that they give out at school, or you can buy these in packs to go, or sometimes they have them at the checkout at Walmart. And this is the greatest cereal for my 10-year-old. He loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so I have several of these. And to prep it, all I did was hit it with a sanding block. Not well either, just kind of roughed it around a couple times and made sure stuff's going to stick to it. I did get a CD or a DVD, and I carved out a circle and I cut a line in it to make my roof. And I have a bunch of pieces of applesauce box that I'm going to be using as the sides. And I'm going to attempt to make a gnome dwelling. So I think that maybe I want to put this on a CD. Here's Sublime. Nope, not Sublime. Hooray for boobies. Not as good as One Fierce Beer Coaster. It might be. It's hard to say. Hard to judge. So what I definitely want to do is I want to make sure I have texture on this so that it holds glue well. Anything else I want to put on here. Glue, paint, whatever it may be. I'm going to get the sanding block. Okay. So I want to put my house on here. Is my glue gun on? Yeah, it is. It's just not behaving. Whoops. Okay. I want to center that the best I can. And then I want to get any excess crud out of the way. So I have a little bit of excess crud that I don't think is going to look good on my house. So I'm just going to cut that and pull that off. Okay. So the first step's the easy step. This is cardboard from that cereal box that I was telling you about. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make lines vertically all the way around, trying to keep them straight up and down the best I can, because these are really flimsy. I do not know if I cut enough of these. Now I'm leaving that gap at the bottom, but I'm starting to notice that I didn't leave them big enough for sure. So let's hope that we can clean that up later. Oh, so what I'm trying to do for my gnome house is I'm trying to make it look like a giant barrel, kind of. Or half a barrel, maybe. That's kind of what I'm going for. I don't have enough of these cut for sure. We'll figure it out. Now, before I come all the way around here, I want to kind of figure out my door situation. So what I think I want to do for my door is I want to cut 1 inch wide. Well, actually a little bit more than 1 inch wide, maybe 1 inch and a something. Inch and a bit wide. Something like that. And that's a little tall because gnomes aren't 5'10", but I can cut that down later. I'm just gonna get some really thin cardstock. If I have some really thin cardstock laying around. There we go. This should be good. I'm just gonna cut some of that. Yeah, I just freestyle everything. I know that frustrates some of the viewers. I've had people say things about it. I had somebody, when I still had the Facebook group active, I had somebody on the Facebook group send me a message that was pretty lengthy. They seemed kind of unhappy with me about that I don't provide measurements for a lot of things, or that I just cut stuff willy-nilly. But it doesn't have to be perfect. I got some glue back here I didn't want, but it won't really matter too much. I kind of want to curve that. So I think the easiest way to curve that would be to get like a paint lid or something. And a marker probably. And just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to push that down some. Something like that. And let's get that on as the door. And now this is going to stick up a little bit because this is going to be flat. And that's okay. Okay, so we don't want that sticking out. We want that going vertical kind of, all right? Then we want to get our small pieces like this. Get a bunch of those. We want to frame that door out with those. You can leave a little gap if you want to. What I'm doing is I'm kind of putting the glue inside and using my piece to stick it down. So I don't have a bunch of excess glue all over the place. Now, mind you, I went into this with no plan, so if this doesn't work, it's going to be either a deleted video or a reluctantly posted video. I just like to build shit. Kind of makes me wish I hadn't put it on a base. Maybe one more. Then just kind of generically clean that up, and I think that'll look all right. That's our doorway. Then we need a window. So for our window, I'm going to cut a 1 inch, maybe a little bit over an inch. I'm going to do another 1 inch, but maybe just a little bit over an inch. Now with this, I want this to look more like shutters. So I'm trying to center those first two. Like that. So it looks like it opens in the middle. And let's hope these are long enough to fit there. Okay. Something like that. And I need a piece of thin cardstock again. So I'm just going to come back here and steal some. That excess glue is never good. It really kind of hurts what I'm doing here. So I can get some of that off, I'm going to try. Okay. And then I definitely want this to still look like it opens in the middle. I'm going to bend that and then kind of mush those down a little bit and then put it back in. So I want this to be my window, and that bend is going to help it fit there a little better. And I don't want it to be I want it to kind of be vertical, you know. So let's continue working on this and use the excess to get us where we need to go. Now I'm hoping these kind of fit here. Little pieces down there, and I think it would be easier to do just kind of like a curved piece across and then cut it later. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dry fit this across there. I'm going to let that kind of dry. Then I'm just going to cut to simulate. Okay, that's not dry yet. I'll let that cool better. Alright, let's come around here and work on this side. I'm running low on my pieces. I didn't cut quite enough. So I have to get some more of those going. Give me a second, I gotta stretch my back. Oh. Back is caramel. Okay. Yeah, maybe we had enough. Who knows? I'll start in the middle here. Do my first vertical there. Because the door is going to be kind of a focal point, I'm guessing. I'm just going to snip this real quick to make it fit in there a little easier. Look a little gooder. That's a technical term, by the way. Gooder. Very technical. Then we want to frame out the window. So for the bottom, we have the natural curve of this cup kind of already right here. But it's a little tighter than that, so we're just going to bring this in. Kind of dry fit it. Okay, we're going to come straight across, just like that. Something like that. And then, because I want that to make sure it's sturdy, I'm going to get a little bit up underneath here, where you don't really see, and just get a little band of that there. And then with this, we're just going to take these excess pieces. We're going to cut these pretty short. You know what? Let's do this. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Oh, dropped it. Let me get that cleaned up a little bit there. And we'll snip off the top part. Just like that. And we're going to kind of try to force bend this. Okay, like so that it'll kind of go on there. Okay. Something like that. Oh, my back, hold on. And then we need a strap that goes all the way around, so we're going to need a piece of cereal box for that. Something thin. Will this go all the way around? No. This could do it, in theory. In theory. And we need to be really careful with this part because it's naturally going to want to like follow the curve. Like say we started here, right? It's naturally it's going to want to curve up like this. We want to make sure that we maintain that all the way around flush. So we're going to start in the middle here for the barrel port, the barrel strap. Okay. We're just going to take our time. We're going to get that settled so it's straight across where the roof is. And we're going to get a little bit. Just kind of keep it rolling nice and slowly, so we don't lose that kind of elevation. I'm going to come across on this side and try to line it up perfectly the best we can. Okay. And then where it lines up, you could overlap that. I did not, but you could. Then we need some studs on here. Then for the roof, all that is a circle with a piece on it, like that, right? So what I want to do is kind of get that in place, get a real sturdy bond. Something like that. Make sure it's solid and permanent, and it's in its forever home. Then I want to get this up here in place. So to get that in place, I'll set that as close to even as I can. Too much glue is definitely better than not enough glue in this situation, because you'll have time to move it around more if you use too much. If you use not enough, it's going to be kind of permanent at that point. So then and the bubbles are what I'm really worried about. I'm not worried about the bad smears or things that didn't work right. I'm worried about big bubbles like that right there. Because those big bubbles are going to be super noticeable. So ultimately, and get rid of those the best, I think the way to do it would be to melt them so they kind of collapse. And I'm doing that kind of on the edges of the roof too. Just trying to get rid of my biggest bubbles and make them less sticky uppy. That's a technical term. There might be a few left there, but it's not going to be as terrible as you'd think. Then when these dry, I'm going to snip those off with scissors. And this is going to be almost ready to paint. So for the next part, I need a paint lid. And I'm just going to get a crisscross here, put that on there, just like that. And then I need to seal this and give it some, I'm getting a disposable brush. So all I'm doing to do that is, wait, we need to do a door stoop or this is going to be bad. Can I get that under there? Yes, I can. Just like that. Okay. Get that under there nice and sturdy. Something like that. All right. Then what I want to do is I want to get baking soda and a spoon. And I want to get some super glue. And I want to get that on here little by little. Move that around. Get it up on my whatever that stuff's called. My the plastic lining of the cereal bowl thing. Get it up on there. Get it out to the edge. And then I want to add baking soda. Tap my excess back down in. Alright, I did make a little bit of a mess, more than I meant to for sure. Now I have some spider webs. I'm just going to clean those up. I'm going to snip off those little gloobies. Alright. I think a couple little pebbles around the edges would be nice. Maybe a bigger rock too. And we need some studs. That's going to be my bigger rock. And these are going to be my little pebbles. So to get those in place, I'm just going to find a good spot where it kind of nestles against the the building. I'm going to get my glue. And just kind of let that drop down and become one with the nature. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on the sides here. Now I'm assuming you can't see that because of the roof. So all I'm going to do, I'll get tweezers to do this and I'll tip it. I'm just going to get a rock. There's 2 rocks right there. And I'm just going to let those saturate down on the base. And I'm just going to do that in a couple spots to make it kind of a little more interesting. That's all I'm doing. Can you see that? I'm just getting that and letting it drip down. Oops. And I'm going to let that sit for a while. And when those dry and everything's good and solid, never moving again, I'm going to spray paint it all black. Then I'm going to come back and do a part 2 and we're going to paint it. Hey guys, I know I'm not a big flashy channel, but if you like what you see in here, if you like what you are seeing here, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, and all that happy crappy that helps the channel grow. It might not mean a lot to you, but it does to me, I promise. Leaving comments is a big one because I get to interact when you do a comment. And even if I just say something silly, but I like to really I'm not trying to complain. I appreciate any comment that's left because it means you thought enough of the video or of the channel that you want to help. But I like the comments where I can kind of say something back. So if you guys want to try to be interesting and engaging, I would really appreciate that because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels nice. You know, it makes it having something to say back or having, a conversation instead of it just being a one-sided thing where I sit and talk for shit tons of time and then that's all of our interaction. I kind of want it to be more than that. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.